And Valerie, good evening from a warm Brussels. Thank you, Vidyamala and Mark, for this weekly community feel. Yes, it's so lovely, isn't it? I really love it. I love this session on Tuesday with you all. So, yeah, that sense of community, sense of connection, sense of shared values. We're all prioritizing coming closer to experience, being less distracted, a little bit more open, maybe, more loving, more caring. These are very important qualities in the world. We've got Anna from a hot France and Jackie from hello from Manchester. Just wait maybe another minute and then we'll begin. People pouring in now. 74, 75. Hmm. And we've got Janet from Manchester. Hello, everyone. And I'd also like to really appreciate the fact that so many of us are here when it's a lovely sunny evening for many of us. Not for everyone, of course, but those of us who live in the UK, I think for most of us it's a sunny evening. And of course, it's very tempting not to sit and meditate when it's a sunny evening. There's many other exciting things you could be doing out in the garden or going for a walk or whatever. So it's wonderful that we're all still prioritizing working with our minds, even when there's many other temptations. Good. So I think we'll begin now. So very, very warm welcome, everybody. And for those of you who are here for the first time, a special welcome. And those of you who are returning, also a special welcome. So a special welcome to everybody. If you're here for the first time, we call this session Space to Breathe. And I always like to say it is what it says on the tin. So it's a chance to have half an hour out of our lives, out of whatever we're engaged with, and to settle into ourselves, allow our breathing to soften, be more aware of our thoughts, our emotions, how we're feeling in the body, and bring a little bit more ease into the situation. So moving away from maybe bracing, fighting, struggling to a quality of resting. So that's very much what we're looking for. And I always lead different practices. And tonight I was thinking I'd do a connection practice. The world is feeling very, there's a lot going on out there, isn't there, at the moment? And we can feel fearful in response to that. We can feel judgy in response to that. There's all sorts of things that can arise. And the connection practice is very beautiful because what we're doing in that practice is we're training to recognize other people as very like us. So what we often do, and I think particularly when we're getting frightened or anxious, is other people seem very other, strangers, and we relate to people on the basis of difference primarily. But if we do the practice like we're doing tonight, we can relate together on the basis of everything that we share primarily. We're all breathing in and out, so we share that. We all tend to resist difficulty in all kinds of, we do that in different individual ways, but we go into the pushing away pain. That's a very universal quality. And we all tend to grab onto pleasure. Now, as I say, we do that in our unique ways, but these drives of pushing away pain, pulling pleasure towards us, getting into a struggle with life, that's very, very universal. So a lot of these people in the world that we might be feeling, we don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, might be feeling critical and so on. They're just living out their version of the human condition, which doesn't condone behavior. I'm not condoning all human behavior by any means. But it can be very helpful to drop into something a little bit more empathetic, and it will help our own state of mind if we do that, rather than isolating ourselves, contracting, bracing, fighting, struggling. That all just leads to more and more suffering for ourselves, and often more and more suffering in terms of how we interact with others. And then Nat said, we all share one ancestor, the Earth. That's true. We're also all sharing this great planet together. Okay, so I'll lead the practice. You just need to follow along as best you can. I'll lead it hopefully in quite a simple, accessible way. So I'm not really interested in the metaphysics of the whole situation, but it's more dropping inside our own experience and then using our imagination, realizing that other people deep down are just like us and that deep down we're just like them. Okay, so to begin with, let's allow the weight of the body to begin to rest down into the surface beneath us. So whether we're sitting, whether we're lying down, seeing if we can begin to drop into a quality of settling. You want to just adjust your posture a little bit until you feel, oh yes, I can rest down a bit more into this particular position. And then closing the eyes if you'd like to, or else maybe lowering the gaze. So we're just beginning to draw our awareness inward a little bit. Sense of coming home to our experience. And the other thing that we can taste a little bit when we do a meditation practice like we're going to do this evening, this connection practice, is we're all very alike deep down. The hard edges don't really exist. And we're also all participating in this mystery of awareness. This mystery of awareness, which we could see as something vast and boundless. And then our whole life is taking place within this mystery of awareness. So I've got a very beautiful poem here from Rainer Maria Rilke about wholeness, wholeness within and wholeness as a collective. Ah, not to be cut off, not through the slightest partition, shut out from the law of the stars. The inner, what is it, if not intensified sky, hurled through with birds and deep with the winds of homecoming? Ah, not to be cut off, not through the slightest partition shut out from the law of the stars. The inner, what is it, if not intensified sky, hurled through with birds and deep with the winds of homecoming? So as we drop inside the body, we're going to be looking for this quality of spaciousness. The inner, what is it, if not intensified sky? That's so beautiful. So the first thing we do is have this quality of resting, giving the weight of the body up to the chair or the bed, up to the planet, with an intention or a felt quality of yielding, gently softening and releasing. Seeing if we can surrender up to the gentle hold of gravity. As soon as we do this, we'll probably find there's a little bit less bracing in our experience, a little bit less contraction, a little bit less resistance. And if we want to, we could take a few deeper breaths. Deeper in breath, and then on the out breath, having a quality of release and letting go, arriving and settling a little bit more. Let the next in breaths flow back in their own time. Be careful not to force or strain, but there's just more this intention of letting go a little bit with each out breath. Letting go of what we've just been doing, letting go of whatever's coming next. And arriving in the body, in the moment. And then when we're ready, allowing our breathing to find its own natural rhythm. Very gentle, opening on the in-breath, subsiding on the out-breath. No need to force or strain. And let's go a little bit more deeply into the body. For many of us, it can seem like our self-awareness lives in the head. And when we think of the body, it's a bit like we're looking down, even on something a bit foreign, a kind of stranger to ourselves. The body is very much a part of who we are. So let's imagine that our attention, our awareness is pouring out of the head, pouring down through the body, and filling the feet and the legs. Allowing the feet to rest into the surface beneath them. If we're sitting, allowing the backs of the legs to rest into the chair. Likewise, if we're lying down, depending on how we've positioned the legs. And seeing if we can come right inside. And the way the legs will be presenting themselves to our awareness will be through sensation, contact, maybe awareness of whether they're warm or cool, maybe there's buzzing or tingling, maybe there's intensity, or for some of us there may be a quality of absence, numbness, so we're knowing the legs through numbness. But seeing if we can come right inside and noticing the way these sensations or these feelings are continually changing. And seeing if we can soften the urge to push away anything unpleasant or to cling on to anything pleasant. It's more that we're resting in the fluid and changing nature of experience inside the legs. And coming to the buttocks, whether we're sitting, whether we're lying, can we let the weight drop down through the buttocks, letting the buttocks be soft. So we're receiving the support of the chair or the bed or the floor as fully as we can. Resting into the support rather than perching on top of it. Again, there'll be sensations of pressure, maybe unpleasant, maybe pleasant. Can we let them flow through the moments like a river? Allowing awareness to pour up into the torso, the belly and the chest and the whole back of the body and the sides of the body. And breathing inside the torso. As we yield into the support beneath us, maybe there's a sense of the breathing dropping quite naturally a little deeper in the body. As we soften resistance and bracing and tension and fighting. Letting the belly and the chest swell a little bit on the in-breath, subside on the out-breath. The back of the body broadening a little bit on the in-breath, subsiding on the out-breath. But being very careful not to force or strain. It's more like we're getting out of our own way. We're letting go of all the ways we inhibit breathing. We're resting and yielding into the support beneath us. And allowing breathing to be natural. And of course, there'll be sensations in the torso. Maybe they're intense, maybe they're dull, unpleasant, pleasant. Receiving all is into our field of awareness. So becoming more vividly present and seeing if we can soften the impulse to contract against the unpleasant and to grab hold of the pleasant. Letting everything arise and pass like a river. Now coming to the shoulders, falling away from the midline of the body. Let's just check that the hands are supported somehow or other, whatever way is comfortable for you. So we don't need to hold on to the arms with effort. We can let the arms fall away from the shoulders and the hands fall away from the arms, and the hands rest into the legs or the waist or the body or the sides of the body, maybe if we're lying down. Whatever's most comfortable. In whatever position will help the shoulders release, open. And allowing our awareness to pour through the shoulders like water and down inside the arms, the upper arms and the elbows and the lower arms, the wrists, the hands, the fingers and the thumbs. And again, the arms will be presenting themselves to awareness through sensation, through temperature, buzzing, tingling. Maybe it's unpleasant, maybe it's pleasant. And we're allowing everything to flow through the moments. And letting the hands be soft, fingers soft. And just noticing in the fingers, is there any quality of gripping onto the past or reaching for the future? And what would happen to let the fingers rest in the present? And coming back up through the arms, the shoulders, and let's allow awareness to move into the head and the neck. Instead of the head simply being a kind of thought factory, which is how many of us relate to the head, let's open to the physicality of the head. It's a limb of the body like the arms and the legs. There'll be sensations maybe around the tip of the nose with the breath, in the mouth, eyes. Receiving all these sensations into awareness, just as they are, letting the lips, tongue, jaw be soft. And broadening to be aware of the whole body now. Maybe having a greater sense of wholeness. The inner, what is it if not intensified sky? Hurled through with birds and deep with the winds of homecoming. So maybe having a sense of coming home to ourselves a little bit more. If our experience is very difficult or challenging, allowing kindness to saturate our experience. And opening to our emotional weather. And noticing the way that's changing all the time as well. So we haven't got a rigid body or fixed emotions. Resting inside this feeling of presence. And something a little bit more fluid and soft and kindly. Always breathing, always resting. Now staying centered and grounded. Let's bring to mind a friend in our imagination. And I always like to imagine that we're sitting quietly together, me and my friend. Just choose someone quickly. In a way, it doesn't matter who they are. The main thing is that they're a kind of representative of humanity, but someone for whom we have goodwill. And let's imagine that the edges between us are softening a little bit. We're going to focus on everything that we have in common rather than difference. So here we are, we've both got bodies, we've got minds and emotions, both breathing in and out. And we'll both have the whole range of experience pouring in. Things that are unpleasant and difficult. Things that are pleasant, even joyful. And things that lead us to feel bored, dull and neutral things. We'll have habits of resisting and pushing away anything that's difficult. And we'll have habits of holding on to anything that's pleasurable. And we'll have habits of zoning out around things that we find boring. And we'll do it differently. We'll do it in our own unique ways, but these broad patterns will be underneath the way we show up in the world for most of us. As we rest with our friend, just feeling into all that we share. This complex human condition. And wishing our friend well. Wishing ourselves well and wishing our friend well. May we navigate this human mystery as well as we can, softening reactivity and building kindness. Recognizing that our friend is just like us deep down. Now staying centered and grounded, let's broaden our awareness. It's like the circumference of our awareness opens. And let's include everybody here practicing together. There's 107 of us now. We all look different. We live in different places. We'll all have unique experiences, but deep down we'll share the same basic patterns. We're embodied. We have emotions. We have thoughts. We're breathing. We'll tend to dislike things that are painful. Get into a battle with them if we're not careful. We'll tend to cling on to things that are pleasant. Get into a battle with them. Have great areas of boredom in our lives in one way or another. Don't know how to engage with things that are dull. And every one of us here will probably have a longing for greater ease and peace, being more vividly alive. How wonderful that we're all spending this time cultivating these qualities. So in our imagination, let's gently breathe together. A loving breath, a kindly breath, and wishing one another well. Imagining what it would be like to live your life with this perspective, relating to others on the basis of all that we share rather than focusing exclusively on difference, which is what so many of us do, leading to us feeling isolated and separate. May we all be as well in ourselves as possible. May we all know happiness. May we be free of reactive suffering. And may we all know more peaceful states. And may we all feel courage in our lives. And let's now bring the weight of the body to the foreground of awareness. Checking that we're still resting into the support beneath us, receiving its support. But without closing down around our experience, just shifting our awareness into the body very fully. And letting go of the practice, just resting, just sitting, just lying, and absorbing the effect of spending this time in this way together. When we're ready, we could gently open the eyes and bring a little bit of movement into the body, however you want to move. Bringing the formal practice to a close whilst keeping the quality of awareness flowing into whatever comes next. And I'm going back onto gallery view. Maybe we could all go onto gallery view and just look out for a moment. All these other beings that are just like us. I always find a really wonderful, wonderful thing to reflect on. Oh, people waving, that's nice. Yeah, wonderful. I mean, even that, someone waves, we recognize that as a sort of universal gesture of goodwill, and we do it. That's also remarkable. These things we take for granted. Excellent. So thank you so much, everybody. For those of you who are here for the first time, I always stay on for a little bit at the end, and people write in the chat box if they want to, what they noticed in the practice. I always read it out because we sometimes have people here for whom reading a chat box is difficult. And this is part of the session, actually, this very nice sharing at the end. But before we go into that, I'd just like to uh, say a little bit about our patron scheme at Breathworks. So Breathworks is a charity. It's a UK charity, but we've got outreach across the world. And things like this are free, and that's very important to us. And we've got our community of practice, which is this amazing community online community that's also free. And as you can imagine, nothing is actually free in life. We want to offer these things free to people, but it does cost us a lot of money. And things are a little bit tight at the moment. I know I've said that. It's a bit like a cracked record, isn't it? But the charity sector is just very, very difficult these days. So Mark is going to put a link in the um, chat box. And I know many of you are patrons already, so you can ignore this. And thank you for your patience in hearing me saying this yet again. But for as little as £2.50 a month, that would really, really help us. So there's a link there for the UK and there's a link there for outside of the UK. So if you're not a patron already and you would consider becoming one, we would obviously be very, very grateful. Okay, fantastic. Good. So let's read some of the comments that are here. So Karen, so beautiful, very much needed, a lovely warm glow of connection. Thank you, Vidyamala and Mark, and everyone for being here and connected. Exactly. And it's so interesting, isn't it? We're all sitting in our own little worlds and we've got these little boxes on the screen. And we can communicate so much through that. Like for me, knowing I was doing that practice with over 100 people, that did make a difference to my experience for sure. Their sense of solidarity, that sense of momentum, that we're doing something important for the world. Amazing. Yeah. So it's very much a collective thing. And Nancy, so calming and cooling, like a breeze and a warm afternoon. That's beautiful. Hazel, thank you. Lovely session. And Victoria, I love this meditation because it is a powerful reminder to reduce reactivity and to treat all others with the same kindness that we would wish for ourselves. Exactly. Exactly. It's a training. And when things are difficult in our lives or we're feeling anxious about the world, we can do this thing of closing down and contracting, and then we become more reactive. And I do believe, these practices, they do have an effect on the world. Even if, we go out of the session and we meet our family and we're just a bit kinder to our family, that has an effect on them. And then they might be kinder to the next person they talk to. And it's a sort of grassroots change. Very, very important. And there's this lovely quote from Desmond Tutu, who talks about how change comes about through millions of tiny acts. And that's how apartheid was overcome in South Africa. change comes about through millions of tiny acts. So if we leave this and we're just a tiny bit less reactive, that will have an effect on the world for sure. So thank you for pointing it out, Victoria. And Jackie, thank you, Vidyamala, for a beautiful meditation. I became quite emotional during the practice. This has never happened before. Yes, that can happen, these are heart practices. So if we become emotional, then we bring the same attitude to that emotion, seeing if we can soften around it, bring compassion to it, awareness to it, rather than either pushing the emotion away or getting sort of lost in the emotion. Just there's something flowing through. So resting in that fluid sense. Oh, Victoria, that's nice. Please become patrons, everyone, and keep this beautiful charity up and running. Thank you so much, Victoria. That means a lot. And we've got people who, like Shelley, first session. So big welcome to you, Shelley. And I think we had someone else here for the first time. Sorry, oh yeah, Yasmin. Fantastic. Um, Lizzie, thank you. That was amazing. My legs were twitching and wandering uncomfortably. I tried really breathing into my legs and it all calmed down. Each time they started to wander, I did it again, and the breathing really helped. That's wonderful, Lizzie. I mean, that's so amazing, isn't it? This power of intentionality, the power of intention, and knowing what to do with your breathing. Because of course, when we've got twitching and painful, restless legs, the habit is to contract against it, pull away from it, and then of course it all just gets wound up, it gets worse. But having the courage to just breathe into it really helped you. That's fantastic. And Hazel saying, can you share that lovely poem, please? It was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. I'll put it on the community of practice in the poetry section. But it's called, actually, what I could do. Yeah, I'm not sure what the name of the actual poem is. So I'll put it in later. Oh, look, Mark's done it already. Here's me wasting time fumbling around, and Mark's done it all. Thank you, Mark. And then Bridget, thank you. My breathing disordered. My breathing is disordered and struggling in the heat, and really helped hearing your words about it coming in and out and helped me be more at peace with it. Yeah, that's wonderful. Because again, breathing's challenging. We start and getting anxious about the breathing, contracting, the whole thing starts to wind up, but just releasing down, softening, letting it flow. Very important. The thank yous. And then Lucy, thank you. Really lovely to think about and connect to fellow meditators. Yes, exactly. It's beautiful, isn't it? And Regula, thank you so much. Beautiful, quietly seeking into silence and being, noticing in the body in the presence of the moment. It's gorgeous. I'll read that again. Beautiful, quietly seeking into silence and being, noticing into the body in the presence of the moment. Wonderful. And Jodie, community felt like a warm hug. And Helen, thanks so much, Vidyamala and Mark. Was wondering if it is possible to become too internally focused with meditation, but you reminded me of taking the awareness out into others and the wider universe. Yes, I thank you for saying it because I think it is possible to get too internally focused. And certainly when I was learning meditation many, many years ago in my Buddhist tradition, I was taught to do a self-awareness practice one day, and then what's called the metabhavana, which is a awareness of self and other the next day. But we did a version of that this evening. So you're both building up this self-awareness, which is obviously incredibly important, but also remembering, we're not alone, we're not isolated, and using the self-awareness as this point of empathy. So it is very important that we regularly do that. And these practices are all available on YouTube. So if you like this practice, you could come back to it in your own time. And Janice, thank you, Vidyamala and Mark. That was wonderful. I am very pleased to support Breathworks as a patron. Thank you so much. And then Magdalena, inner peaceful shadow, wide open to other. Inner peaceful shadow, wide open to other. That's beautiful. And Caroline, connecting all together warms my heart. Wonderful meditation. And then more, thank you. I love the way you're all thanking Mark, which is brilliant as well. We wouldn't be here without Mark, our wonderful tech support person. And you're all thanking one another, which is also brilliant. And then someone Mark on YouTube says, lovely meditation, body awareness and loving kindness meditation together are such a powerful combination. My heart feels more open. Yeah, fantastic. Good. Okay, so let's leave it there. I seem to be plunged into darkness for some reason. I think it's just the shadows. I'm going to go and have my dinner. And I'll see you all next week. And thank you all so much for coming. I'm feeling very connected to you all right now. And thank you, Mark, as always. Yeah, excellent. Let's see if I can do the heart thing this evening. Yes, let's all do the heart thing. That's nice, isn't it? Lots of hearts. Okay, good. I'll head off. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Well.
Bye, everyone.